or never seen a picture about a pool player. It was character-driven, and it was pretty obvious. I was shooting a film in France, and I was actually set to do another film, and that film fell apart, and it was only because that fell apart that Rob Rawson sent me the script when I was in Paris. So I started to read this thing and was halfway through, and called my agent and said, I'm halfway through, it doesn't make any difference, fix it, make it happen. But if the other film had come through, I never would have done The Hustler. I did some research. There was a pool hall on 47th Street upstairs on the second floor. So the first day I got back, I went up there and just to sniff around. And this kid came over and said, how would you like to shoot a little pool? I said, no, I don't shoot. And he came back in about 15 minutes and he said, come on, we'll play a little game. We don't have to play for a lot. Shoot a little game of pool. I said, no, I really don't shoot. He came back to me about 20 minutes later and said, you're an actor, aren't you? And I said, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, I seen you. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. I said, you don't know me. What happens if I'm hustling you and I take you for your wad? He said, well, if you take me for my wad, he said, the guy behind the counter there, he said, he'll come over and play you. And I said, well, but what if I beat him? He says, the guy that takes the coats, he'll come over and play you. I said, well, what if I beat him? He says, you beat him, we call Chicago. So there's always a guy sitting around who's going to be better than you are. And that's all it takes to make a hustle. I'm very quick to learn anything. I never got to be a good player. I got to be okay. I remember when we took the dining room table out of the dining room and put a pool table in. And Willie Moscone used to come up 3 days a week, something like that, for a couple, 3 weeks. He went from having the core of his character to be about hustling to the core of his character that had to do with a sense of self-honesty and integrity. That's a nice road for a hustler to travel, incidentally. The character demanded another look, because when he went out, George Scott made it very clear he was never going to be welcome at any pool table. So, what happened to that?